Hello, I'm Steve Krueger, down here in my studio. Today I'm going to demonstrate something I consider rather unique and different. I'm going to be demonstrating how to do rocks such as this using oil paint, turpenoid, and watercolor. It's fun, so let's begin. All right, this is the picture on my cover video. Hopefully this piqued your interest and you decided to click on my video to see just how I created these rocks, or call it a cliff. Here's some rocks over here. That's what I'm going to be demonstrating. It's a fun technique. Be forewarned, it's messy. You might want to use latex gloves because we're going to be mixing oil paint with turpenoid and watercolor along with plain water. I'm going to demonstrate that technique starting now. I did these rocks a couple hours ago, let them dry. Let me get a close-up. This is something you can't get using just plain watercolor. This gives a good kind of a rough texture to the rocks. And this is interesting also, you can't get this using just plain watercolor. So my motto is there's no rules when it comes to art, and especially to watercolor. I like to experiment, do different things. So this is what we're going to be doing right here. Now you're going to need, of course, you're going to need some items to make all this work. First of all, I always keep, I use Viva paper. It doesn't have any imprints on it, but I use Viva paper to blot. Now, get yourself some turpenoid. It's odorless. Get a water bottle with this tip. This is just plain water. This is how you introduce the water to the mixture, which I'll be demonstrating. Some plain black oil paint or oil color. And some watercolor burnt sienna. We're going to use burnt sienna for this demonstration. Here's the burnt sienna, and I just charged that with water. It's right out of the tube. And get yourself some of these containers. I forget what they're called, but this is how you mix your oil paint and your turpenoid. Messy, messy. Get yourself some brushes. You're going to ruin these brushes. So unfortunately, that's one of the byproducts of this technique. So go to Walmart, Hobby Lobby, get yourself a pack of inexpensive brushes. And then some palette knives. And I like the plastic, so we'll stick with plastic. So that's what you need, and I'll be back. Okay, before I start demonstrating, I mentioned that we're going to be working on creating these type of rocks, but before we do that, this was kind of done freehand. I'm going to suggest that this is the way you should start. Lay some tape down, and I'll demonstrate how to create this technique using black oil paint and turpenoid. But before we start, I have paper laid down, and I have paper laid down off to my right over my art table. You don't want, of course, any of this oil paint on your table, so I have throwaway paper. My brushes, everything, when I lay stuff down off to my right, it's on that paper, and when I'm finished, I throw it away. So let's begin. This is a ramekin. Finally found out what these are called. It's a ramekin, and I mix black oil paint in with turpenoid. I'll show you how to do that. Then I have, we're going to mix a little bit of burnt sienna into the rocks. A totally black rock is kind of boring, so we're going to throw in a little bit of color. So here we go. I'm putting a blob of black oil paint into the ramekin. And I'm adding turpenoid. Now this is where you're going to have to experiment. There is no magic mixture, you know, 1/4 turpenoid, 3/4 black oil paint, nothing like that. You just have to experiment. This is very inexpensive watercolor paper. Go through lots and lots of paper. I've been doing this technique for 20 years, so it might look easy, but it's not. It's messy, and you have to just practice. You might not even like this technique, but in my mind, there are no rules in art and in watercolor, so I like experimenting. So this is a good way to make a kind of a funky rock. So to begin with, I taped down some tape, cut a little bit, left a little deckled edge here. We're gonna create a rock right here. So you lay in the water, and we're gonna mix the black oil paint. Again, this is very messy, so you gotta be careful. And we're going to introduce the black oil paint with turpenoid into this water. And you'll see what happens. You have to be ready to pick up the board. I'm picking it up just a little bit, getting an angle. And here we go. We're going to create this rock. Now the trick is you don't want to touch the paper with this mixture, then, because you're going to get a black mark. And I'll show you what happens when you do that. Now I'm using the handle of my brush to get a little striation, as I call it. Now, if I touch the paper right here, you won't be able to get rid of that black mark. And it just might add something to your rock, I don't know. The trick is you gently drop this into the water. Now here I used a little bit too much turpenoid. So we're getting a look on what not to do. But that's okay. That's how you learn. And we're going to bring the rock over like so. Here we go. And I'm using the plastic palette knife. Okay, we've got a lot of dark here, so your eye is going to go here. So I'm not going to put any more dark striations here. This will be where the eye can rest. Rocks don't all have this black in it, so okay. That's kind of a cool rock. Let's just keep bringing it over. We'll bring it over this way here. Going to put some water down here. And we'll bring it up like so. Now this is turning into a boulder, actually. So we'll add a little bit. Now see how that's kind of exploding in the water? This will give you a gritty look that most rocks have. They have these little, well, I call them grit. And let's bring the rock over. We're making as you can see, a big rock, big boulder. Oops. This is the brush that has a little bit of oil on it, but I'm dropping in some burnt sienna. Just to give it a little bit of a different color. You don't want a boring rock. So, I don't know where that came from. Let's just wipe that up. As you can see, this is very messy. Well, what do you think? Let's bring the rock down a little bit more. Pick the board up. Okay. We'll make this kind of funky down here, this rock. This brings your eye off to the left. And we walk the boulder down. Okay. This is looking like a pretty serious boulder. This could be on a lake shore. You could put trees around it, all sorts of stuff. Let's see what we got here. Now let's say you don't like that straight edge. Rocks don't really have a straight edge like that, so you can bring it up using just plain water. What's happening over here? We'll drop a little oil into this and bring this down like so. Add a little bit. Oh, there I hit the paper, so we got this black mark. Sometimes we can get rid of it by just agitating it with the tip of the brush. All right, let's bring this down. And we'll bring the rock out like so. Okay. There we've got a rock. Knowing when to stop, I just kept going and going, making it bigger and bigger. So of course you can make just a little rock. I could make this even bigger. I could turn this into a mountain if you want it. So this could be the water line right here. As, let's see, where's my painting? So yeah, I think I had a piece of tape right here, and that's why this stopped right here and along with this. So then I created the shadow and the water, and this is the water line right here. So this is I guess this could be down in Mexico. Where is it? I forget the town where they have something like this and you can see right through it. So that's what we're doing. We're going to let this dry. And knowing when to stop. Do I want to stop? No. We'll add just a little bit of burnt sienna down here, just to give it a little. Okay, know when to stop, Steve. Well, we'll put some right there. And we'll come back and look at that when it's dry. Okay, I'm back, and here's our, whatever it is, a cliff, a rock, a boulder, whatever you want to make of it. Now, I've got a video coming up on how I am going to demonstrate how to use Modge Podge to lock things in, to cover your painting with Modge Podge, and also to mount your painting on a hard canvas board with Modge Podge. That's coming up, so I'm kind of cheating here, but I'm giving you a little tip. I poured some of this Modge Podge in a bowl, took a brush. Of course, when you're finished, be sure and clean the brush real well with hot water. And I brushed the Modge Podge onto this boulder. Now, the reason I did that, you can't put shadows in unless you put a Modge Podge cover on, because this loses all of its watercolor capabilities once you put this oil and turpenoid on. So you can't drop in a purple shadow. It's just terrible. You can't put a shadow on unless you put Modge Podge over. So let me just show. Let's say I wanted to shadow this right here. Bring a shadow down. I would walk away and let that dry. But because it's got Modge Podge on it, you can just blot it up. Modge Podge is like a varnish, so that's a little tip. So now you could, let's just see what happens here. You got your watercolor paper here. I've got this locked in, and we'll just do a kind of a shadow, comes down like this. So you got your shadow. If this is water, you would paint blue and then let it dry and drop this shadow on top. So there we go. That's, I wanted to show you that technique. Now, I also said we were going to do, well, let me stop right now and I'll be back. All right. As I mentioned previously, we're going to do this more or less freehand, see if we can get something similar. And we will give it a try. So I'm laying my water down, and we'll make these kind of brown, similar to this, using burnt sienna. Drop that in. All right. Let's see, get rid of that. Now I'm lifting the board up. And dropping in some more black oil paint. Let's make a big rock here. Okay, we'll bring it down. Now we will make another rock. Remember, don't touch the paper. And we can make this as big as we want. Now let's do another rock here. Okay. So that gives you an idea of what you can do. Let's and here we go. Now in closing, let's see what I can do here. Let's say you didn't want a rock. You just wanted to make this, let's make it sand. Well, first of all, drop in some oops, sorry about that. Now what you want, this sand will have some dark particles to it. See how that's exploding right there? So this could be a beach. Trick is you don't want it to look like rock, just like sand. Let me just show you. I did this. Let me get this down here so you can see it. It's kind of dirty sand, but you know, you get the idea. So I mixed, of course, the black oil paint and turpenoid and water. So that's another look that you can get. And I think we'll go ahead and close. We won't dry this. You can bring it up one more time. And this is what you want to get right in there. And here we have some sand getting ready to be sand. So we'll close, and I'll just show you. Did this, probably 5-8 years ago. This is the look you can get, again, with that turpenoid and black oil paint. And look at that nice contrast right there. So, that's it. Thank you. I hope this has been of interest, and feel free to click the likes and subscribe. Steve Krueger, The Art of Watercolor. Have a great day.